So welcome. Welcoming yourself here as well. Welcoming this body that's here, always with you. Can't leave him anywhere. Can't leave it anywhere. And just allowing yourself to tune into the moment. Noticing how you're sitting or lying down. Allowing for the body to just gently, safely, fully sink into the surface, whether it's the chair, the cushion, the bed, the mat, truly supported by the earth underneath. Embraced by this beautiful atmosphere around us, the powerful invisible forces that are always here, gravity being one of them, the earth underneath. Noticing how the body just kind of settles here. And if you notice any tension right now, any tightness, seeing if you can invite that to just kind of soften up a little bit, release. You might also find that sometimes tightness just wants to stay here for a little longer, and that's okay. Meeting the moment exactly as it is. So if you like to close your eyes, closing your eyes, and if not, then you can keep your eyes open, but really lowering the gaze. We're going to give the body the message of turning inward now. So softening the gaze will be fine. You just want to gaze down at the ground. And bringing your attention to the abdomen, the belly area. And just noticing if there's any tension here, any tightness. And if possible, inviting that tightness or tension to just release. Maybe taking in a deep breath and a long exhale and just settling into this area. Making the conscious decision to take a pause. And as you breathe normally, without forcing or controlling or changing, but just really noticing the breath. As you do that, maybe seeing if you can feel the breath and the belly and allowing the belly to just flow normally. Maybe rising on the in-breath, falling on the out-breath. This is how we breathe when we're completely relaxed. This is how we breathe when we're sleeping. Belly breathing. It's called diaphragmatic breathing as well. And all we have to do is just allow the breath to flow normally. Feeling the rising of the belly on the in-breath and the falling on the out breath. And there might be still a lot in the mind from the moment before, whether it's planning, doing, and seeing if we can just be here, but inviting yourself to this moment. There's no need to push anything away. There's no need to clear anything. It's just not about clearing thoughts or not thinking. This is just about being here with the full experience. But seeing if you can bring your full attention to your breathing. And everything else might still be happening in the surface, and that's all right. Remember, awareness is vast, just like the ocean. Everything on top, on the surface, is just what's on the surface, all the storms, all the waves. But underneath it all, there's full awareness. The entire being, your entire self. Allowing the body to just breathe. Allowing the mind to settle on the breath. Allowing the breath to settle in the body. And just for a moment, resting your attention right here in the breath. And if at any moment you experience a lot of thinking or maybe strong, difficult emotions at this moment, sometimes when we settle, that can happen. Just knowing that you can always come back to your feet on the ground, sensations on your hands, tuning into the body. And whenever you're ready, you can join us to just being here with the breath. And there's no forcing, no changing or manipulating the breath in any way. We're just watching the body breathe. It does it all on its own, doesn't need any help from you. So just allowing for that to happen. And perhaps you can notice the quality of the breath. Maybe it's flowing fast, maybe slow, perhaps it's deep or shallow. Instead of being engaged with a narrative of the quality of the breath, really experiencing this deepness on the breath, or the shallowness on the breath, or the fast breathing, or the slow breathing. Really engaging yourself in the moment. And can you allow for this moment to just be? Perhaps not knowing the next moment will be welcome here. And the not knowing will allow us to navigate it with beginner's mind. So there's nowhere to go right now. There's no place to be, just here. Fully engaged in the moment. The body, the breath, they're always here. Everything else is a process of the mind. But when you notice your mind getting caught up in a story, or maybe taking you away from the moment, kindly, with great compassion, bringing your attention back to your breathing, knowing that that is the natural function of the mind, and it's all right. You might even be able to say, thank you. Got it. And coming back to experiencing the sensation of the breath in the body, maybe at the nostrils, maybe one nostril more than the other. Noticing the belly rising on the in-breath, falling on the out-breath. And maybe during this moment, this particular moment right now, you might be noticing that there's not much going on. Or maybe there's a lot going on in the mind. Maybe there's the excitement of something else. Maybe there is the resistance to even sitting here. Maybe boredom in the long pauses. If there is neither that urge for excitement or anything exciting really going on right now, or the resistance of the moment, if there's neither one of those, you might be caught in a neutral moment in which there is not much happening right now, just sitting here. And maybe noticing that after a little while in the pause, maybe boredom kicks in. And we might not even notice boredom. It might just come up with a story, the mind looking for excitement, a memory, the thinking mind kicking in. And that's all right. You can always say thank you. Coming back to watching the breath. Remembering this is not a thinking process. This is just tapping into our own innate nature, which is awareness. What we're doing is bringing the attention to the moment. experiencing the breath. How are you meeting the moment? Are you meeting the moment with acceptance, non-judging? Are you being patient with yourself? Are you inviting kind curiosity? Maybe by now you forgot all about the breath. So just coming back to the breath, coming back to this wave that the breath kind of produces on the in breath and the belly rising, and on the out breath is falling. See if you can just ride the wave of the breath, softening around whatever it is that might be the expectation of how you need to be in this moment. But just allowing whatever is here just to be here. And bringing your attention again and again to your breathing. No forcing, no controlling, just allowing. And whenever you're ready, opening up your attention, expanding your attention to any sound or the absence of sound, and really paying attention to the volume, the rhythm, the pitch. And if there is absence of sound, you might notice that even within that, there's space. There's something, it could resemble sound as well in that silence. It's opening up to all sounds around you. And there's no need to know what the sound is, but really exploring beginner's mind. What is it like? Kind curiosity. And we can't really talk about the pulse without becoming fully aware of the role of perception in our lives. How do we perceive the moment? How do you perceive the moment? Moment by moment, as you encounter a new moment. What are some ideas that you're bringing about the moment? As you talk to one another, what are some interpretations of what they're saying? So the way we perceive the world in relation to others influences our behavior, influences our attitudes. So how are we responding to that perception? So understanding that every time we react, we get triggered. Perhaps the moment is being interpreted by something in the past. And this is when our mindfulness becomes important, if not the most important thing, this is when we tune in and turn our awareness inward to notice, what is it in me that this is triggering? What's the interpretation of what's happening right now? How am I interpreting the moment? And what is this causing? What is in the mind at this moment? What is in the heart? What is in the body? Coming together as a group, coming together as one in our practice, but embracing our differences. The idea is that we can navigate this being fully aware of ourselves. Mindfulness is about how we relate to everything around us, to others, to the moment, to the events in our lives. This is how we grow. What is my interpretation of this? Am I judging the moment? Is the mind judging this person? Judgment is a natural function of the mind. It's not just about noticing these things. And can I accept that somebody might have a different view? Can I accept that somebody might not think the same way I do? Can I accept the moment exactly as it comes? There was this short clip that went around not too long ago. I don't remember where I saw it. And it was a businessman coming to a pizza place, very well dressed with a suit on. And there's a homeless man right there too. The homeless man is right to the side. So the man sees the homeless man and right away just steps to the side further from this man. Sorry, the businessman sees the homeless man and steps really farther from the homeless man. So the homeless man goes ahead and orders a medium pizza. When he's done ordering, he goes and takes a seat, sits on a table. And then the businessman goes and orders his pizza as well. While the homeless man goes to get a drink, the businessman takes over the table and sits there, almost in disgust towards the homeless man. How dare he be in this space where I'm gonna eat, right? Or be an interpretation. He shouldn't be here. Anyway, he takes over the table and the homeless man grabs his pizza, comes to the table. Sorry, the homeless man comes to the table and sits down. Then the waiter brings the pizza to the middle. And of course, the businessman grabs his pizza and starts eating it. The homeless man looks at this and grabs a piece of pizza from the dish. The man is really frustrated by this. He starts getting very angry and almost disgusted at the homeless man grabbing food from his tray. The homeless man continues to just grab a pizza. When the last piece comes in, the homeless man breaks it in two and gives the man the other half. The man is furious at this moment, but at the same moment, the waiter comes back in and brings the businessman his pizza and says, "Sir, here's your pizza." So the entire time he had been eating the homeless man pizza. His interpretation of the moment was really saying that he had the right to be there first. That was his pizza, that was his space. So how we interpret things can cause so much stress. And it's really important to see how we feel in that moment, to drop in and notice what's in us. What is my interpretation of this moment? So as we can see in this short clip, the man actually was in the wrong. The pizza was the homeless man's pizza, but he was sharing with this man. He didn't care that the businessman was eating his pizza, even though he probably didn't have any more money to buy another one. So it's all about how we interpret the world. And this is interesting because I think Rumi has been talking about this, the role of perception, for a very long time. And Rumi says, the world exists as you perceive it. It is not what you see, but how you see it. It is not what you hear, but how you hear it. And it is not what you feel, but how you feel it. So I was very fortunate this week to be in a class with John Cornfield, and he shared another story. He sometimes teaches at the place I teach, and he shared this really interesting story about a monastery and a Zen master and his monks. And he says that there was a woman that came in, a nun that came in service. She was going to serve the monastery, and she worked at the monastery for a very long time serving. And everybody loved her. And not only that, she learned the language of the villagers. So this is somewhere in Asia. So she went out of her way to learn this language. And so she became really good friends with all the villagers and everybody. But one day she just disappeared. She left the monastery, and I wonder where she went. So they went about their own business, the monks and the Zen master kept doing their thing. And one day she shows up after months. They're very happy to have her back. But when she shows up, they notice that she's going around the village trying to convert people. She has become a Christian now. And she's going around the village trying to convert all the villagers. So of course the monks are furious. Or I wouldn't say furious because they're monks, so maybe they're just kind of concerned. And maybe they just, they're concerned that maybe that's not the way, that's not the right way. So they go and tell the Zen master, said, oh my God, you won't believe, she came back and now she's trying to convert everybody to Christianism. And the Zen master looks at them and smiles and says, just with a laugh, maybe she's right. And so that just goes to tell us how when we have a rigid mind, a rigid way of seeing things, it can cause so much suffering, right? But we can open up to other things. We can be open to the not knowing mind. And that's really what the Zen master is pointing at. How are we practicing? Is there a possibility that maybe we just don't know? And can we be okay with that? Can we be okay with the possibility that we don't know anything? And can we bring on the practice of beginner's mind at that moment? Right? So that's what's going to be our practice for this time when we're pausing. Pause. And really noticing, how are you perceiving things? How are you perceiving the moment? How are you perceiving the other person? And really understanding that perception comes from deep inside us. Our interpretation of how the world is all inside us. It's all based on our past experience, right? When I was a software engineer, we studied the motherboard, right? The motherboard is everything in the computer. So all the programs rest here. We can see it the same way. We have this motherboard in us where all the programs are there, all the beliefs, all the opinions. Every time we're seeing experience, every time we face experience, all we're doing is going back to that and checking, oh, what does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? So can we just be open to maybe not knowing what it means? Can we just be open to acceptance? Can we be open to non-judging? Can we be open to beginner's mind? So that's the invitation in this practice today. Just accepting that sometimes we just don't know, and that's okay. We don't have to have all the answers. We don't have to know it all. The moment that we decide that we know it all and that we're right, the moment we stop learning and growing. So I want to thank you for your practice. Maybe taking in one last breath. Thank you for being here.